There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonkō Table. That is the voice of GrandMasterHoop coming at you from the helm. And goodness, I hope not to put you to sleep because we're entering the dream world. We're entering endless dreams to talk about The Sandman, Netflix hit series that just debuted in early August. We're a little late to the show, but we're ready to go, and we're here to discuss everything The Sandman. But with me, as always, is Dr. Jace, who's not here today, but that's okay. Taking his place is rising supernova, Dr. Mondo. Dr. Mondo has been pushing for us to do this Sandman podcast, and here we are. Dr. Mondo, how are you feeling today?
Feeling great, GrandMasterHoop. Glad to be here. It's been a long time coming. I've been away for a while, but I'm excited to talk about The Sandman, a great series, something really fresh that's coming to Netflix here.
You know what? I was hesitant to do this podcast, but I mean, I watched it, and when I was writing up these notes that we're going to talk about, I started to even appreciate it a little more on how it flowed. So I am glad you inserted your rage and you directed it in a better way into channeling it to make this podcast happen.
Yeah, that's right now. My rage is a meme right now, but it's fine.
It's fine. Again, it can be used for the greater good. But yes, folks, we're here to talk about the Sandman, story of Dream the Endless. Now, I guess the biggest thing really, before we really get into kind of the nitty gritty of the show, do you think this is going to be like the next big thing? Or do you think this is going to be more of kind of like a cult following? Like there's only a handful of people who are probably watching this. I don't really know which one I lean towards. I feel like I am more leaning towards there are a select group of people that are going to watch this show. What do you think? Could this be their next Stranger Things?
I don't know if it's going to be like to the level of a Stranger Things, but I wouldn't put it into the category, oh, this is going to be like a cult, because I would say it's more in line like going towards like The Witcher, which a lot of people watch. There's a pretty big fan base. It was something like pretty obscure. Not really, The Witcher wasn't obscure, but something that not everyone knew, and kind of like, oh, it brought it to light. Oh, this is very cool. And at that point, people started like playing the video game even years after it came out. And here it can happen with the comics, because the comics are actually like pretty good. I haven't read them, but they're on my list just by watching this show.
Yeah, I would say as far as The Witcher goes, I know like The Witcher is definitely not known by mass audience. It's those who played the video game
and read the books as well.
Yeah, there's a good following that read the books. And surprisingly, I think there is a good following that read the Sandman graphic novel. Neil Gaiman, his name has been buzzing around because I don't know if you've seen American Gods on Stars.
I have not.
That's his other show. And interestingly enough, it's kind of similar approach where it's like all the god mythos and polytheistic gods are like real and trying to adapt to the real world. So I see a lot of similarities here in Sandman. So I find that really interesting that if this does take off, yes, I think, you're going to find more people deep dive in the graphic novels and the lore, because there's a lot to explore here.
No, and I think again, the following has been like really good with the show. Again, it was Netflix's most watched show in August. It's still one of the top shows, and it's popping up in social media all the time. So it's like this show was a hit.
Yeah, I think Stranger Things had been running all of late May, June, July, and then this came in and dethroned it.
Okay.
So there's a lot of good here. I actually, overall thoughts. Let's just talk about overall thoughts. I enjoyed the series.
Oh yeah.
I think I enjoyed it more for the thematic elements and kind of the mythos surrounding it versus actually what was presented. I know there's a good amount of people who really love the visuals here.
Oh yeah, the visuals are gorgeous.
Yes.
Like for me, I agree with you when it comes to the mythos, that element of mystery and intrigue that was going around. It's like, okay, this is a very mysterious world that there's so much to it that they're not presenting it all to you right off the bat. There's so much that's left to your interpretation, or just like, wait, we'll tell you a little bit later, and it keeps you on that. But I also did love the cinematography there was gorgeous. The shot, like the special effects were gorgeous. When you go into the dream world, like the dreaming is gorgeous to watch. And I also like the characters, and a lot of the even the writing in the show is really good, especially I would say especially in certain episodes.
Oh yes, hands down.
Like the writing was good throughout, but there were some episodes that they were just wow. Like
I think we're gonna be on the same page on which episodes the writing really shines.
Oh yes, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be on the same track there. But it was so refreshing to watch. I didn't know what to expect of the series at all. I hadn't seen a trailer. I was just like, okay, then it looks cool. Let's see what it is. It's likely whatever.
Actually, I too did not watch any trailers for this. I really had no interest in The Sandman. I knew it had a bunch of buzz going around. But yeah, coming into it and coming out of it, I think the writing is truly a highlight. The characters, I think, are most characters are very well done. You talk about cinematography, and I like to throw in the direction. The direction of some of these episodes are,
yes,
again, because it's very different when compared to something like Game of Thrones and Stranger Things. Like, I mean, we'll get into it, but specifically the diner episode. That whole episode almost entirely took place in that diner, with repeating the same stuff.
That episode was for me out of all the episodes, that was the 10 out of 10 episode for me.
I think I might agree with you. Look at us.
The diner episode was the 10 out of 10. That was just like, wow.
It just speaks to the idea that good writing and good dialogue, can be transformative of a whole entire episode, and just it doesn't have to be action oriented, doesn't have to have crazy effects.
A single setting, a single premise, and the way it all develops and unwinds after that. It was very, for me, to a certain extent, it was very Quentin Tarantino in the way that Quentin Tarantino has these long dialogue sequences that they start off one way, and then it goes from one end to the next, and you're like, what the hell just happened here? Just through simple dialogue. And that's that episode gave me those vibes. Obviously not the other Quentin Tarantino vibes, but it gave me at least when it came to dialogue sequences.
No, I agree with you. We'll come back to it and we'll explore that episode more. But you were also saying, as far as they're not exposition dumping you everything.
Exactly.
There's a lot of
little. They're trickling down. It's like they're giving you a little bit, you digest it. You're like, oh, this is good. Can I have some more? And then they give you a little bit more, and they keep you there. There's so much going on in this freaking world.
Well, I really like the fact, talking about what's going on in this world. This world is so intricate because they're pulling from many different places. They have the Greek mythos going on. There's biblical mythos and references throughout. There's just literary, I think, because Constantine, is a part of the show. I don't remember Constantine's origins. I imagine it's from a book. But Constantine. The thing is that Sandman is DC. It is DC Comics technically. Oh, are you trying to say this is a descendant of John Constantine? Like the DC run.
I think so. If I'm not mistaken, it is like somewhat affiliated. Somewhat.
Well, I will say this, as for those who don't know, this is based on a graphic novel produced by DC Comics. If Dr. Manhattan has anything to say about it, if Dr. Manhattan can make Watchmen in the same realm as, you know, Superman and all that, I guess.
Sandman was published by DC Comics.
Right. So I'm guessing if Dr. Manhattan really wanted, he can bring this world to their world too. But here, let's see. Real quick, performances wise too. Everybody really did
everyone was great. Honestly.
Yeah, everybody really did a good job here. His name, Tom Sturridge.
Tom Sturridge was wow. Like,
never seen him before.
Same, but it was just like the way he projected himself was just perfect. Like he was so mysterious, so ominous at the same time. It was just like he was perfect to be this kind of being.
Right. I don't think anybody, I mean, coming in, I was like, oh, the Sandman, he's dreams, he's happy, and he's like kind of joyful. Not in the slightest from this guy. But I guess it works. It really does work. He does really give a very layered performance, despite his monotone and his, that dryness that comes to his delivering.
And it's just like and even the character of Dream itself, Morpheus is such a great character.
He's an interesting character. There's a lot going on.
There's something about like Morpheus. It's like so interesting. It comes up in like the later episodes. It's like his character flaw, which is the most ironic thing in the world. So he's Morpheus, the king of dreams. Dreams are the most chaotic substance that you could ever think of because they can change on a whim. Yet throughout the series, a lot of the things that his character flaw is his rigidness.
Mm-hmm.
Like
his kind of rules and stick to the code.
He's very like, no, things cannot change. Once it's which is so ironic given that, dude, you're the lord of the most changing substance in the universe.
Dream realm where anybody can control the reality, right?
With a thought, like everything changes to your wildest desires. And it's like, I found that so ironic, but the way they plant that in is so good.
Again, credit to the writers.
The writers were great. And again, the performances were phenomenal. And of course, David Thewlis, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Which one? Oh, Professor Lupin.
Yeah, Professor Lupin.
Professor Lupin. Very good. He did very good.
Like, and it was like he was so well written that like sometimes you kind of felt for him, even though he was deranged as hell.
Listen, we'll get into him. Let's go ahead and just let's talk about this show. Let's talk about it in its entirety. So the basic premise, Dream is captured, and he's captured for 106 years by, I guess they're just a group of sorcerers. The what's his name?
Tywin Lannister.
Love him. Charles Dance, love him. But they didn't want to capture Dream. That was not their plan. They wanted death. But the Corinthian has other plans. And I mean, obviously, we'll talk about the Corinthian later, because I feel actually he shows up here and then he's like sporadic throughout the rest of the series, except for the very last third of the series. Then he's like here, but he's captured, and we get some sympathy from Tywin Lannister. I don't want to call him Tywin Lannister. They call him the Magus.
The Magus. We get some sympathy from his son, his abused son. Yeah. Look at that. Charles Dance, another abused father. He keeps playing abusive fathers. And always has a preferred son
over one son.
My God.
Nothing changes. Typecast. I really like this premise. I think, and again, I'm talking direction. When they would jump in the years when he's captured, but they don't straight up tell you, I think was really good. Because again, it'd be like you're looking at Dream and then it zooms out and now the people are older.
Exactly.
And again, just adds to, he looks terrible. He's naked. He's like, let me out.
Like skin and bones almost.
Right. But then it just keeps adding to that. He's been here for a very long time. And then I think the final jump where where now the son is living with his husband.
Yeah.
And, he had promised to let him go. And then he's like, I can't let you go.
Yeah. It's because it's like, it was like that entire episode. And I think it's like a premise for a good part of the series, I would say, is how like, he's always shown the worst of humanity. So, like, Magus gets him because he wants death, and it's like, oh, damn, I screwed up. You're not the guy I wanted. But then he sees, like, the magical items that Dream has.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives him power, prestige, fame, all that. So it's like he keeps him as a trophy, and even the son, it's like the son. It's kind of understandable to a certain extent because he says like, "Hey, I want to let you out, but you gotta promise me
to not hurt me, right?
To not hurt me or my lover." It's like I don't want to keep you here, but I'm afraid you're gonna kill us. And it's funny because like even when the first time that he says that, like you hear Dream as the narrator saying, now that I think of it, I might and I should have taken that offer, but I was just so mad at that time because again he had seen the worst of humanity. He like that kid killed Jessamy, his crow.
Yes, his crow, right?
And it was like the kid, like he was kind of like forced to do that, the kid, and also trying to finally please his father because his father freaking hates him.
And then he's like, "You almost shut the bloody cage."
You almost like he wanted his father to be proud of him. So, but yeah, it's like throughout the entire like those 106 years, he was always seeing the worst of humanity.
And actually, it's good because it builds up his arc. He has to learn how to trust again.
Yeah.
And so, he doesn't trust humanity. And then eventually the lover does accidentally break the seal that's keeping him in. Yeah,
I think because he kind of brushes off the magical seal, I think it is, right?
Yes. He literally slides his foot. And I think it was literally because, he loves this guy, but he also sees that he went back on his promise.
Yes.
And again, it's just, you're looking at this. Dream is in the form of a human. You look at him and it's an enslaved person. Yeah. So I think he feels some sympathy. And now Dream is out. And he's gotta
say he's out. It's like, it's really badass. Like his powers and ways of torture, they're badass. Because
it's methodical.
Because not only like the thing is that after the series, I read up a little bit on the mythos and all that. So it seems that like the Endless cannot hurt humans.
They can make them hurt themselves.
No, it's like they can't directly like hurt a human, like like kill a human, I think. But unless the human kind of interferes with them, it's something really weird that goes on there. So like Dream's powers, like when he says, "Oh, you're gonna go to sleep," it's like, well, he's not really hurting them, as he just like put them in an endless sleep. So, but either way, it's kind of how he takes something so simple and so peaceful.
Yes, I see what you're saying. He gets really methodical and
makes it into something that's literally a nightmare.
Right. And then the people their actions, their reaction to whatever he's doing is the eventual, like, their downfall. Because I think he goes into the mind of the guard, and I don't remember what he makes him do, but it's kind of scary to think about that this guy can make your reality. It's almost like freaking Itachi or somebody with the freaking Izanami.
Oh my god.
Similar. I don't know if Kishimoto from Naruto is pulling from the Sandman, but it's definitely scary. So now Dream, Morpheus, whatever you want to call him, he's on the mission. Well, he gets back to the dream world and he sees it's all in shambles. 106 years worth of damage. We meet Lucian, his librarian, and she's like, sir, there's a lot of damage. Like, the sleepy sickness was also a thing that happened. Some people have been asleep like this whole time and have not woken up from their dreams, which is kind of a crazy thought too. 106 years of sleeping. And I don't think those people, well, when they woke up, from what I remember, they were okay. They just woke up. They're just older. We'll come back to it because it comes up later. Yeah, we'll come back. And so now he's on the quest for the items. He needs his effects. He needs his ruby, his helm, and his sand. Without these, he cannot rebuild his kingdom. So here we start getting, I guess this is kind of like the first arc of the series. Yes. So again, now we start playing with different aspects of the mythos. So like the first people he visits is Cain and Abel. And I was like, wait a minute, Cain and Abel?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I found that entire dynamic hilarious, not gonna lie.
Oh my gosh. Going in, because who is it? Well, Abel dies. But you think it's the first time. It's repeated.
Like, it's a running gag. It's like, oh, you killed me again.
Yeah, it's like, oh, next time don't hit me so hard like that. It was good, but see, then I'm over here. I'm like, okay, we got the Corinthian. Now we got Cain and Abel. What is going on? I'm trying to put together, like, is this a biblical show?
Yeah.
Is this like, are they going to be pulling stories from the Bible? But no, Cain and Abel are their dreams. And they are of the dream world. They are, subordinate to Morpheus. So I find that really interesting that, just kind of, I don't know. I like it when they play with religion, but don't make it overtly religious.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic.
I always like those little twists. The twist to like mythology, to biblical mythos, or like Greek, like Norse, all that kind of mythos, how they can twist it around and kind of throw it at you in a very unexpected way. I always like that. I did not know anything about this show going in, so this was a curveball. I was like, okay, because if they did this, what the heck might they do next? And then, I mean, the next thing is relatively tame as far as, religion goes. We meet Constantine, who he's like, I knew a Constantine 300 years ago. And I was like, there's no way it's like a different Constantine. It's that Constantine. And it's a family. It's a family affair of like Constantine, the guy, the mythical dude, the sorcerer. Yeah, it's him, but it's her. It's a girl. That's like an Easter. That's like a little, oh yeah, by the way. But then like throughout the series, you actually figure out, oh, he really did know another Constantine 300 years ago.
But I don't know if that's an Easter egg. I think it's just expanding the Constantine mythos.
It could also as well. I think it's both to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. But like later on in the series, you actually see, oh, he really did meet a Constantine 300 years ago.
Wait, that guy wasn't Constantine, right? Well, okay, save it. We'll come back. And then in this episode where, it's Constantine gave the sand to her girlfriend, and the girlfriend, again, it's like, what the theme of like mortals being given power, what would they do with it? and she's just been living an endless dream. But she's like, what? She's like a drug addict, and she's like dying. I'm pretty sure
the sand, so the sand has basically been her drug, where she just goes into the dream so she can be with Johanna.
Yes. Okay.
And like her dream, her drug is her being with Johanna.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really interesting, again, is like, this is a dream, like this is Morpheus that has just come out of his imprisonment. He's been seeing the worst of humanity in these last 100 years. And almost in all the times that he goes and takes one of his items, he kind of dives into some like a positive quality of either humanity or a positive quality itself. In the case of when he takes the sand back, he starts seeing like, okay, love. Like
love, okay.
Love. Like that's a theme there. Like it's like humans in power, they're horrible, but they're capable of love, because the way Johanna reacts to her ex-lover, like being like this, is just like she's distraught. When he sees what the sand has manifested for her, it is just pure love, just being with Johanna. That was her dream.
It's someone who was abusing his power, but not in an abusive way.
But not in an abusive way. It was like she just wanted to be with the love of her life.
Right. So
without hurting anyone, she was actually just hurting herself.
Right. And we're getting, again, he's distrustworthy of humanity currently, despite, his job as the King of Dreams. And now we're kind of getting.
He sees love there. It's like, oh, okay. Like this is actually something positive. It's actually something beautiful here. This is something I didn't experience of humanity in these last 100 years.
Right. And I think, as he continues his search for his items, we see like an interesting juxtaposition of, different aspects of either humanity or different, forces of power that get a hold of his power and what they would do. So first we get a positive one. He comes out of this, he's at a better mindset. He also has Matthew, his new Raven.
Yeah, hilarious.
Patton Oswalt does a good job. I feel he's not over talking as that crow, so I'm okay with it. Not just for pure comedy, he provides some insight. But the next one I think is so talking like, you were talking visuals. This one was a great visual. He's got to go to hell.
Hell is, like, I freaking love the depiction of hell.
Well, I like, it had layers. I think when he first gets there, it's like through a cave, and then it's like just nothing but endless mist.
I will quote Dr. Jace, attorney, who is not with us. Hell was like an onion. It had layers. So he's got to go to hell to get his helm from Lucifer Morningstar. Well, actually, Lucifer Morningstar doesn't even have it. Well, Lucifer, goodness gracious. The fact that it's Lucifer, the devil, the fallen angel, I'm like, okay, so this is what we're doing. This is what you're presenting. And another Game of Thrones alum, Gwendolyn Christie. Yep. Very nice to see her. A great rendition of Lucifer. I really loved her as Lucifer.
I loved her too. I loved everything about her. I don't know. It's interesting when you depict the devil. I know there's more Lucifer depictions now in modern pop culture with for example, the one show Lucifer.
Tom Ellis. Tom Ellis was a great Lucifer. If you haven't watched that show, you should watch it.
I haven't watched it. Maybe I shall, but I don't know. This is my de facto Lucifer now. Just this kind of soft-spoken Lord of Hell, willing to hear somebody out, but of course has somewhat ulterior motives, Again, like you said, they only give you a little bit at a time. They have a past, whether it's a rivalry or, straight up, conflict, they have a past. And we meet a demon who has his helm, and the rules of hell if you want something, you have to, battle it out in some kind of test. But you have to pick your champion. And Dream says, I'll represent myself. And then this demon's like, I choose Lucifer Morningstar to be my champion. And he's like, oh shit.
And cue my background literally down.
Okay. So this is what I'm talking about with like direction. All right. I don't know. I feel the casual viewer thinks they're probably about to fight. And what we get is just a game of wit.
It's a game of wit and wordplay.
Oh, it was so good.
I loved it. I absolutely
it was so good.
Plus, it was not gonna lie, it was funny when she says, "I am a dire wolf," and it's like, oh, and she was in Game of Thrones.
Did you say dire wolf?
Yeah, I think I'm a dire wolf prey stalking, and I was like, obviously, this is not a play on Game of Thrones, but it was just
could be. It very much could be.
Hearing it from her specifically, because what the hell?
It very much could be that she just might have thrown that in there. But I think the way it's just presented, because we're just given the scenario, so they're trying to one up each other in a game of wit, saying, "Oh, I'm a hawk. I will eat the snake," and then something eats the hawk, and then it just keeps getting more convoluted. But then it's like they get into like the kind of like the deeper thinking where I forget what she says. She says like, "I am."
I think I have like the quote here for it's maybe it's not verbatim from the show because it's also like from the original work. I am the end of universes, gods, worlds, of everything. And what will you be then, Dream Lord?
And he answers, hope.
I am hope. And it's like, that's the second quality. Like the first when he goes with Johanna Constantine, it's love. That's the first, that's the quality of humanity, or the positive quality that he had forgotten in these last 100 years, that he sees it there and presences it. And here, it's not that he presences it, but he remembers it. He remembers what is hope. And it's like that hope, no matter how bleak everything is just gonna shine through. Right.
And yeah, it's kind of like, even when humanity might be at its worst, there is still hope.
There's still hope that there will be something better.
Right. And that's really what dreaming is as well. Hope.
Dreaming is to hope.
Hope manifested,
It's like dream in itself, like his power, his purpose, to a certain extent, is really he's a beacon of hope.
Right. Yeah.
When things are at their bleakest, you go into the dreaming, and you live out what you want. You hope to achieve the dream. You hope to achieve what you haven't achieved. You hope to be who you want to be. It's like it's your escape from from all the bad stuff, no matter what. So he starts remembering a little bit, I think, the positive qualities of being the dream.
I think he's like looking at it from again, it's kind of like you have to be at your lowest to truly kind of realize what you've been doing and what you've got, and then rectify any kind of situation. I think he was just running things before, and now, having been captured for 106 years, as you said, he's not as stoic anymore. He's becoming susceptible to change. He's not there yet, but we're getting we're getting a little dash here and there. So love, hope. Well, this next one is probably, I don't know, truth. This one is about truth.
I think the third one is truth.
Right, because
it's like honesty and all that.
Right. And again, interesting situation. Again, they story-wise, it plays out like, I don't know, like novella, or some just dramatic TV drama. the Magus had a mistress.
Yeah. The mistress, he wanted the mistress to abort his child.
Yes.
She did not want to. So what she did was she took all the magical items. She ran away.
She started the hunt for the magical items. Yeah.
No, so yeah,
well, like she's the reason why they are so spread out.
Exactly, because I think it's what she traded the helmet for an amulet of protection, and the sands she sold them off,
right?
To get some money.
The one they kept though,
the ruby, which she gave to her son, the ruby that makes your dreams into reality.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
I think that's the power, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And so
it turns either your dreams or your desires into reality.
Okay. So yeah, we learned that her son John had previously used the ruby with malicious intent, and then he gets locked up in a psych ward. And then she goes to him because I think she knows that Dream might be coming for the ruby.
Yeah, because Corinthian goes
to her, right?
To her and tells us it's like he's back, and he's coming for all the stuff that you took away, and nothing's gonna stand in his way. So she's like, she's super scared to get the ruby back.
Right. And so, but in her fear, she releases her son from the psych ward.
So it's not because of her fear. So the relationship between her and her son is strained, to say the least.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's pissed that she locked him up.
But it seems that throughout his childhood, she was really never honest with him. And it's like throughout his childhood, even like when they present her like already, as like a lot older in the current times, she has these multiple identities that she uses, like multiple aliases when she's speaking to everyone, right?
Right.
So it's like she's playing this game and all, like, where no one knows who she truly is. So it seems, and that's I think his name is John, right?
Yeah, John.
So that's John's obsession with truth, because he's been lied his entire life. His mother has never really been fully honest with John.
Right.
She's had multiple names and all that. She's never been truly honest with him. And the ruby in itself, it's like John uses, he just wants to see truth. He just wants to see truth. He just wants to go, like, he just wants to erase all the lies. But what he does, so when she finally comes clean and tells him like his origins, because he actually like forces her, because he actually started reading upon some stuff, and he was like, hey, so this, like, he actually confronts her for the first time in his life, and she finally comes clean and finally, or at least overtly, does something that's for him, for his greater good, and not for her. Because according to John, she did everything for her, not for John, even though she says
so, right.
So she says, it's like, well, I should have done this a long time ago. And for the first time in her life, overtly, she does something for him. And she gives him her amulet of protection. Right. Which is what has been keeping her alive this entire time.
Right, because she's old as dirt. She should not be alive. So, it's been keeping her alive, yeah.
So she literally gives her life for him to go out, and for her to show, this is how much I love you, this is how much I care for you, and this is the truth. And she gives him the arm, and she dies in his arms.
Okay, now I recall. But now he's on the quest to regain the ruby so everybody can live their truth, no matter what their truth may be. And a testament to David, I believe it's Flewis.
I didn't know how to pronounce
That
it.
car scene where he's getting the ride.
Yes.
Very chilling. Very.
Yeah, it's such a great, like, again, all the scenes where he's at, the dialogue is just so on point.
Yes.
All his scenes. And granted, he's a fantastic actor, so that makes it so much easier. But it's like all of his scenes are so good. They just, again, there's no action basically almost in any of his scenes, except when people are shooting at him and they're just blowing to bits because of the amulet of protection.
Right. But even that is off screen. Yeah, they really hone in on his dialogue.
They're just so encapturing. Like I remember when all of his scenes, when he started talking and like he goes through this story, this little monologue of his, I was just hooked.
Yeah, no, me too. Like I was thoroughly engaged when he was talking to her and just, talking about her life and everything. And then there's a switch from a casual conversation to a really
the switch. I love those switches. Yes. I love the switch from very casual to, okay, this is what's going to happen.
This guy's crazy.
This guy's a psychopath. And
right.
Not gonna lie, I was very afraid that the dog was gonna attack him, was gonna blow up.
Oh, I was afraid for the dog's life the whole time. I was like, please do not hurt that dog. But remember, he only punishes or hurts bad people. So he says. That whole thing was really good. He eventually gets the ruby. Only harms that gas station worker, I think.
Because the gas worker shoots him.
Right. Let's cut to the diner. Let's get to the diner. He walks in there. He has no money, and then he's just experimenting with the ruby, trying to see what would happen if I make these people live their truth.
Yeah, or like take away the lies.
Take away the lies, as he says.
Take away the lies. That's what he does.
A lot happened.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
There's a good amount of patrons in this diner, and they just all come out and say the outlandish things, like the working couple. She's older, he's younger. It's almost
she's the CEO of the company. He's like he's under her. Under her, a head of division. She's kind of she's a control freak. It's funny because like the young guy that's there is trying to apply to her company.
I think it's like they work at the college, I think, and yeah, he's about to apply there too.
No, he's going to apply for a job there.
Right. And then her husband is over here like, well, he's younger than me. She'll probably, trade in the old bull for the young steer.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And he's with basically almost every woman. Like he's like texting and flirting with every woman because like on the phone.
Yes.
So he's cheating on her. The waitress.
She likes the cook.
Likes the cook, but
the cook.
Right. The cook has been screwing her son.
Now hold up. I had to take a pause here.
Same.
When he said
that scene was just like
so he says like, I haven't been coming over for dinner or for you. I've been coming over for your son. I was like, oh my God. And she's like, he's just a boy. He's 21. I was like, thank God.
And then
God.
And then it was just like, oh, and he knows what he's doing. Oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm just glad that he was 21.
No, yes, I was glad as hell. But I was just like, but he kind of rubbed it in. It was just like so like because she was like, oh no.
Well, they're living their truth. Yeah.
The lies, the veil of lies was down.
Yes. You had the other girl too. She was worried about texting her girlfriend back or something. And then she starts hooking up with the waiter?
She was texting her ex but she had left because she, like, in a fit of rage or just like a fight, she slapped her, and she felt horrible.
Mm-hmm.
She felt horrible that she did that, and she was like the entire time, it's like, I don't like. She doesn't deserve me. Like, it was like a lot of self-pity what she was having with herself. You know, like,
right.
I'm a horrible person. And it seems that like the waitress was like one of the only people that was saying like, no, like, you know, like, was seeing her for who she is. And well, it seems that it was like that platonic love that she had. So she just lived it there. And the waitress just went, like, after getting her heart broken in the worst possible way, possibly just like saw, hey, like, another person sees me for who I am, and that was like their truth and their whatever.
I think what really works about the scene was that a lot of the conversations kept replaying until they started actually living out the truth.
No, it was like each conversation, it would be the same conversation, but with minor changes.
Minor changes
Very
until
minor
it got to
changes.
like the ultimate truth.
Exactly.
It was great. Again, that's a credit to the direction, because I had to keep asking myself, wait a minute, didn't they just talk about this? And then you start spotting the minor changes. And meanwhile, this guy, John, is just sitting in the back, just watching and fiddling with the ruby.
Yeah.
And you see what this guy wants. He wants people to live their ultimate truth, no matter what it is, no more lies. And Dream comes in and basically, you know, sets him straight. And he's like, no, that's what dreams are for. If everybody were to live their ultimate truth, it would be utter chaos, essentially. It would not work. Like, the worst of humanity would come through if everybody were to just live out their truths.
It's like the real world, like, you need a filter.
Yes.
You need a filter, and you need an escape, and that's why dreams exist.
Yes.
Like, dreams are the escape for you to live your ultimate truth, for you to be who you are without compromise, free of judgment, without hurting anyone else.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, so it's like you have your own truth and all that, who you are, but like what you did here, what you manipulated them to do, that's not who they are as a person.
Correct.
It's like Dream is kind of telling. Dream is like, if for the first time in a long time, Dream is defending humanity.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We forgot to mention it got violent. That's why. Yeah, that's another reason. Yeah, that's why they can't do this. Yeah.
It's like Dream for the first time, he's actually defending humanity. Mm-hmm. Like, he's telling John, like, it's so funny. It's like, because now the roles are like, so he's taking the role of like, hey, like, humanity's not as bad as you're putting it out to be. They're horrible, but they're not as bad.
Well, I think, again, so this whole journey is him having kind of, you know, he's starting to put more faith in humanity, but also we as the viewer are learning the real value of dreams.
Yeah.
And why dreams are so integral. And, you know, and within the show too, you know, Dream is of one of many siblings. A lot of them think Dream puts himself on a pedestal, but when it really comes down to it, he deserves that pedestal as far as what dreams are actually, you know, used for.
I think the seven endless.
Is that what the seven endless?
So, like, the endless, like we see in the series,
I think 4.
We see 4 of the 7.
Okay, and which is a perfect segue. So he gets the ruby back. Well, he crushes the ruby, John.
Because and also, like, Dream notices there, because at one point he says, like, I don't need the ruby to be the dream.
Right. And also the power returned to him too.
Yeah, it's like, so he kind of, it's kind of his own like self-revelations, like, hey, I'm more than just my tools.
Yes, like the tools are kind of like a catalyst, but it's like a catalyst for him to realize his powers. Once the ruby's gone, yeah, he doesn't need it anymore. Yeah. Nor the helm. And actually, remember they judged, his siblings judge him for using tools.
Yes.
Right. I imagine that'll come into play maybe in like a season 2, as far as, maybe other people start leaning into using tools. We'll see. But speaking of the other endless, so I think, okay, so this episode is probably my favorite episode.
This was it wasn't my favorite, but it was a great episode regardless.
Oh man, I just love how things were presented here. So,
no, same.
So Dream,
the diner episode was my 10 out of 10 episode.
Oh, okay, then that's my 9. This is my 10 right here. This is my 10. So Dream, he's got his items. He's rebuilding his kingdom, but he still feels without purpose.
Yeah.
So this is kind of in the journey, the whole, what am I doing? Like, I just accomplished this task. Now what do I do? And he's just sulking around. And then this girl comes up to him and, she's attractive. She's very attractive. And she's just like talking to him. And he's just being kind of mellow and shy. Another dude walks up and tries to hit on the girl.
He's like, don't worry, I'll see you soon. And I'm like, oh no.
And she says his name too. She says his name too.
And it's like, don't worry, like such and such. I'll see you soon.
And she's like, and he's like, who's this? This is my brother. And he's an idiot. And then you realize that's one of the endless, whoever it could be. And then you realize, and again, I don't even think you realize it here. You just, again, direction. You hear he walks off.
I was thinking of it.
I was thinking it too. I just needed the confirmation.
No, because when when she said, I will see you soon, that was like, okay, I'm pretty sure she's this, but they haven't told me yet.
Again, it is the direction, because
Yes.
he's still talking to her, and then over there on the street, you hear someone get hit by a car. And you're like, okay now. So then they're walking together and they go visit this old man. And I think he's like playing the piano or something.
I think it was the violin.
All right. And he's like, not yet. He's like, it's okay. You'll be okay. And then I think like somebody walks in and, oh my God, I just love how they did this. I feel this was like top tier direction.
And her justification, because it's like he goes around, like when they're walking, Dream asks Death, how do you do this?
Right.
It's like, because it's like, how can you do this so effortlessly? You bring an end to everything. It's like, how can you be so fine with this? And she's like, she actually starts telling him like, yeah, like before I used to hate my job, but as time went on, like I forgot her realm, what's called.
Oh, I don't know the name.
I forgot the name of her realm, but she says it. The way to my realm is a long play. It's a long road. And I'm just there to give them a hand and be there every step of the way for them.
It's so
like
beautifully put.
It's like she's just saying, it's like, death is not a bad thing. I'm just holding their hand. I'm the one that's gonna hold their hand through this road, and I will never let go. They will never be alone because I'm always holding their hand. And it was just like, that's such a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah, because again, it's all in her delivery. She comes, she's talking calmly to them, and she touches their hand like every time. She like grabs their hand.
Yeah, she always just grabs their hand and lifts them up, or holds them, or and very empathetic. She's very empathetic.
Yes.
And she also says something. It's like, when the universe was born, I was there. Like, and let's say when it all ends, I'll just turn off the light and close the door.
Mm-hmm.
And my job will be done. Like,
it's so
like,
I just love
so good. I like it. This was
that baby one had me too. The baby one.
The baby one destroyed me. It was she was like, it's almost like that's all she wrote.
And then she's cradling the baby,
cradling the little baby. And then she's leaving, and you hear the mom like, wake up.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God.
The one too where it was the husband and wife on honeymoon, and he's like, it's time, and he's like, I just let me tell my wife the password, our tickets, our flight back, it's all on my phone. Just let me open my phone. He's like, you can't. And then they drag him out of the water. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I had to rewatch that scene because I was like, it's just like, very well put. And this is where I give praise to the Sandman. For moments like this, I really give them praise right here. Yeah. So we meet Death. This is Death. We met Dream, we met Death. I think we've now seen Desire, but not like in the fold.
We see they give us a hint of Desire.
Right.
And I think they give us a hint of Despair.
Despair, right. They're plotting in the background.
Because I think Desire and Despair, I think they're
twins. They are twins. They are twins. And they're plotting because nobody likes Dream except I like Death. Death likes Dream. Death is good. Yeah. Actually, looking at my image, I just looked it up. I'm pretty sure that's Anubis's symbol. So interesting.
That is.
Yes. So that's very cool. Little tie-in right there. So in the later half of this episode, because she's reaffirming you have a purpose, you have a job, You just have to find your reason for doing it. Like what keeps you going. Yes, versus the job itself.
It's like, see what you are accomplishing with your job.
Right.
And make it your own.
And I think it's very well put in this scene. And then I don't remember how they segue into the next half of the episode. But I don't know. They talk about, seeing the goodness in humanity, and they talk about, well, what about, I don't think she calls him his friend, but don't you have an appointment to make? Yeah. And okay, I really like this too. I thought this was really well done.
Like the appointment. I forget about that.
Right. So what is it? 1332 or something.
1332. Like they go to this bar in this pub, and they find this guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm never gonna die." And Dream is like, "Okay.
Would you like to see what that would be like?"
Would you like to see what that would be like? And he tells like Death, it's like, hey, can you cut him some slack? Okay. So every 100 years they meet
in the
same exact bar.
And they just have a conversation.
They have a conversation. And it's so funny because it's like you see how the guy has he changes throughout these entire 100 years as his way of thinking.
Right.
At one, he's like this, like a drunkard or whatever that just wants to party. Then he becomes like a nobleman. He become to the point where he only is interested in money. And then Dream gets interested with another guy. That's William Shakespeare.
Oh, right. That was William Shakespeare.
That's William Shakespeare.
Yes.
And it's like Dream takes an interest in him because it's like the way his words make people dream. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the way he puts it. And it's like, that's really clever. But it's and then the next 100 years, he's a bum. But now he's seen the price of immortality.
Well, interesting enough too. At this point, Dream's like, "Do you want it to stop?" Like,
yeah, and he's
at a very low. He's at a very low at this point.
And he's like, "There's always something to live for."
Right, because at this point too, I think he had a family. He started a family.
I think he lost him to the plague or something, and he lost all his money. He lost everything. And even in that low point,
he still wants to live.
He still wants to live. There's always something to live for. And
so it's so good. I think it's just well presented. Again, they're showing the costumes or the time periods changing. Yes. The bar is slightly changing ever so much every 100 years. And then I think they get to the point where he calls him a friend. He's like, "Why do you keep coming?" It's because we have a friendship. And this is where you see the old Dream, not this new Dream we've been watching. We see old Dream where Dream is like, "How dare you? I am a godlike being."
Again, that's what I tell you, the rigidity. his rigidness. There's where you see the first little thing of his rigidness. No, it's like, this is my role. I am the dream. I am the endless. I am, I am I am immortal. You are mortals. That kind of stuff.
And also, I'm not doing this for friendship. I'm doing this. This is my little experiment I wanted to see.
I'm doing everything because it's my job and this is my experiment. That's it. There's nothing else.
No friendship. We are not friends.
By the way, in that episode, we meet the Constantine that he was alluding to in the second episode.
I think I missed it.
So like when they're, I think it's like in the 1800s or something, 1800s or 1700s, they're at the bar again. And the first Johanna Constantine comes in and has been receiving these tips that's like, there's this Jew and this random guy that meet every 100 years, and she goes.
Oh, that scene. Okay, I remember.
That's the Constantine.
Because they thought it was because Constantine, was into the mystical and sorcery. Yeah. So okay, she was investigating. She was
investigating. So
gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
The Constantine they alluded to in the second episode.
That's really cool. I like how that plays out. And then fast forward, I believe it's now the 1980s.
He doesn't appear.
And, I was like, oh, it's because he's mad over that friendship bit.
He was
trapped. I completely forgot. He was trapped. He couldn't make his appointment. And I was like, oh, no. He wanted to make his appointment. I was like, oh, this is good. This is good because this is, as you said, rigidity. He's put himself on a high horse. He doesn't want to admit it, but that they are friends. They've been friends for centuries, and they just have a conversation about life, humanity, immortality. They are friends, no matter which way you put it. He's just being a fool. And
then in the current era, he finally comes.
But the bar has been destroyed because someone bought the property.
And then he goes to the new bar and sees him there.
And there he is.
And he's like, sorry, I'm late, yo.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Those two episodes, I would say later I will tell you my top 3 episodes. You already know my top. But
so we got the diner, this,
and I would say the first episode.
Okay. Yeah, I think the first episode might be on top.
Those were, I liked every episode, but those 3 for me took it. And honorable mention, the one in hell.
Yes. Okay. See, I always said this is kind of your first half. This is episode 5 too. All right. Everything else after this, I think the show takes an interesting turning point. I feel it's almost not even the same show.
Yeah, it gives off a different vibe. I liked it, but granted, it was compared to the previous episodes. It's not the same. I didn't like it as much. I still liked it. Don't get me wrong.
I liked it, but it was just so stark contrast to the earlier half. I felt it was losing me a bit. And we could just talk about it as a whole, kind of not episode by episode, but okay, so we watched Dream kind of find, the humanity in humanity again.
The second, I think the last little arc, I think it focuses more on change.
I think it's what happens when you have a character who's going through a change, but is then presented with the impossible decision.
Yeah.
Or a giant thorn in everything that's going on. So a vortex. A vortex is somebody.
Is a dream, basically a human that
can manipulate the dreaming.
Manipulate the dreams.
Which is his job.
Exactly.
That's his power. But this vortex came about because, one, you have to, I guess we're a little jumping ahead, but you have to be an offspring of an endless? Yes. which is it's okay. I mean, for those who are listening, if don't be listening if you haven't watched the series.
But like that, like like after the ending of the show, there's something like when he confronts desire. I kind of like they really don't. Again, they don't dump all the information on.
They don't. Right.
So it's like I went a little bit in, and like it was all a plot. Like
yes,
so let's keep talking about these episodes, and then I'll tell you the plot.
Sure. So we have Rose Walker, troubling life. Mother passes away. I think her father was relatively a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Takes her brother away. Brother is eventually put into the system, into foster care.
And he's with a piece of shit.
Oh God, the lowest of shit. Yeah. Barnaby, Uncle Barnaby.
Yeah.
It's a terrible situation. So she's doing everything she can to find her brother, and in doing so, she slowly learns
that like her powers, and like her powers become more unstable. The Dream, on the other hand, he's trying to look for 2 of his nightmares, because obviously he knows the Corinthian he went rogue.
Right. So, well, for the listeners, Dream has subordinates. They're either dreams or they're nightmares. In his absence, a lot of them went off to do their own thing versus keep up the dream realm. Lucian stayed behind to keep it up. Folks like the Corinthian went off to do their own thing. Fiddler's Green went off to do his own thing. And Galt. We meet Galt. So, okay, continue what you were saying.
So basically, he's trying to look for those other 2 nightmares, because he obviously knows that Corinthian is rogue.
And he needs them to rebuild the kingdom.
He needs them to rebuild the Dream. So he uses Rose against Lucian's advice to find them. Because Lucian tells him she's a vortex, she needs to be dealt with ASAP.
Because a vortex can again manipulate the dream, but
can
also
literally destroy everything.
Well, the vortex can skew the line
between reality and
basically
dream.
Make dreams reality.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's a problem because you don't need the worst dreams coming to fruition.
So he uses Rose Walker to try to find those nightmares.
Right.
And he finds, and he thinks like, oh, by helping her find her brother, she can help me find these nightmares. Because it seems that her brother has been erased from the library of the dreaming, which is impossible.
Right.
So that in itself lets him know there's something going on here. So there's the connection. And then they finally find Jed. And surprise, surprise, Jed is with Galt.
Who is a nightmare. And
he's a nightmare. But here's where you see, again, Dream's rigidity.
Yes, nightmare, you have a job.
No, you have a job, nightmare. You're a nightmare, nothing else. And Galt is like, I don't want to be a nightmare anymore. I don't want to scare people anymore. I want to make them happy. I want to make them dream and hope. I want to give them something.
And also, again, you have Galt who finds Jed and sees why do I need to give this boy a nightmare?
Yeah, it's like Galt is the reason that Jed hasn't lost his sanity.
Yes.
Galt is Jed's escape.
Yes.
Jed is at his happiest when he is sleeping and he is dreaming with Galt.
Because his reality is terrible.
Shit.
He has to sleep in the basement with the rats. He's being abused. He's being beaten. Every form of the word. It's terrible. And I look at Galt and I think, as far as, thematically goes, it's like your creator may have a purpose for you, but you can choose your own purpose and choose your own path. That's how I look at Galt.
And it's kind of funny because he says to Galt, it's like, oh, this is your job. Yet Galt's power, like, is to be ever changing. She's a shapeshifter. In other words, she can be whatever she wants. Yet Dream is telling her that you can only be one thing, but gave her the powers to be whatever she wanted.
But also, Dream does not look at the good that Galt is doing here.
Exactly. He's one-track minded.
Yes.
And it's like, his spirit's like, no, you're coming back. You're coming back, or you're not coming back, or you're gonna cease to exist.
Yes.
And so that happens.
And he kills Galt. I mean,
it's like he kind of like erases her from existence.
Okay, yeah.
He erases
and then
her from existence.
They were supposed to, Jed, where are you? Tell us where you are. You know, he doesn't. He doesn't. He's not able to tell them where they are. So now this whole second part is like, let's go find Jed. That's kind of like the moving pieces, because whatever Rose does, Dream is gonna follow because she's a vortex. So here's where I guess the Corinthian now is kind of.
It's so the Corinthian sees this and sees this. Oh, this is a perfect power grab. So
yes,
by Rose is the only one that can actually confront Morpheus in his own.
She's like the second coming of Morpheus.
He's the second coming of Morpheus. So it's like, well, for the first time, like Morpheus has someone that's trying to take can challenge his role.
Yes, directly, literally, like.
Yeah, it's like his role.
She's like, I'm turning off the Dream now.
Yeah. So Corinthian is trying to do a power grab. We see something that's kind of like, it gave me the boys vibes to the serial convention.
Okay. So Corinthian saves Jed from the abusive people. And he's like, I'm gonna take you to your sister. She's waiting for us. And the Corinthian has been making moves like for a good while now, to where he has amassed a following of serial killers, and they go to the serial convention, spelled CER.
I found that hilarious.
I had to think about it at first, because I was like, because we first meet like 3 of the followers, and they're like, we want you to be our keynote speaker this year. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what do they want him to talk about? Because all the Corinthian does is take people's eyes, and they're collectors, as they call themselves. They too kill people, take parts, I guess.
I found it hilarious. That entire, like, it was just so, like, the depravity of it. It was very the boys vibe.
Yeah. You could say, yeah. Very kind of like Hero-gasm a bit.
I was like, this is amazing. I was laughing when they arrived at the serial convention. You see all these horrible human beings,
and they're like, remember, folks, use your code names here. Don't actually use your serial name. And Jed's over here like, where's the Fruit Loops or something like that, because he thinks it's a serial convention. Oh my god, it was very. And again, I feel this is so completely different from what we were presented.
It's a completely different vibe. Like from the first, I would say 6 episodes. Yeah.
No, I say the first 5 are like it's complete own thing. With the I'm sorry, 6. You're right, 6.
Yeah, for the first 6, like it's kind of like a before and after. Like when it comes to like the first 6 episodes and the last 4, like I would say the last 4 they're more lighthearted, and I would say more.
I feel they're more action oriented. It's kind of like it's moving.
Like they're more like they're more fast paced. They're more action oriented. They're more lighthearted to a certain extent.
Yeah. Jed and his dreams are definitely lighthearted. Yeah, it's lighthearted. I feel my critical thinking was not really challenged in this last part. I thought with this series, the most absurd stuff that we would see is just the mythos surrounding Morpheus and all the other beings. But now we got this absurd extreme of humanity, that these serial killers, in the guise of, I don't even know what they're fronting it as, but they're having a whole convention.
But like, it makes sense because like, even in like when we jump into last episode where Dream confronts Corinthian.
Yes.
Corinthian's purpose, if I'm not mistaken, was to bring out the worst in humanity. Like, that's his nightmare. I think his role, was to bring out the worst.
Okay.
So Corinthian says to Dream, I was doing what you made me for. I was bringing out the worst in humanity. This is what you created me for, man.
I guess that's fair.
And like Dream says, like, I made a mistake when I created you, and just like then I will make a better you afterwards.
That is, I guess, kind of the hubris that Dream has kind of, been battling. The fact that, he finally admits he made a mistake. Corinthian was a mistake.
No, not only that, with Lucian, there's also an internal struggle in the dreaming, where a lot of dreams are reporting to Lucian, because Lucian was running the place for 100 years.
Lucian was holding it down, right?
He was running the fort. He was holding the fort, and it's like his way of doing things before is not the way of doing things now. And again, his rigidity comes into play. His resistance to change.
Like when the pumpkin guy. So there's a pumpkin character.
It's like, only report to me.
Yes.
I will do everything. It's like, hey, like that worked before, but not now.
Things have changed, yeah. It's unfortunate you were absent, but
his resistance to change. Like, I think this last arc, with Rose, if anything, it really highlights Dream's resistance to change.
Yes.
This last arc, I think it's that. It focuses a lot on Dream's resistance to change, and how that, which is his biggest character flaw. And it's like how he actually has, in order to, survive, make everything right, he has to accept help and has to change.
Yes.
And actually has to change. For the first time in his life, he has to say, hey, I was wrong. And even when he goes to Lucian after their fight, he's like, it's like this typical, like, well, I was wrong, but I don't want to admit I was wrong, but hey, can you help me out? And Lucian's like, okay, I'm gonna begrudgingly help you, because Lucian really does care for Morpheus.
Yes. Lucian did this to uphold his kingdom. She expected his return.
And it's like, even her being mad, and she has all the reason to be mad, and she knows she is right. She's like, okay. And it goes to it's Dream's pride as well. It's challenged throughout this entire arc. This 4-episode arc, it focuses on his resistance to change and his pride, and how he actually has to swallow his pride and accept the help of people around him, and maybe see hey, not everything is black and white. There's things that we can there's so many other things that we can do here. And you see how gradually in those 4 episodes he changes.
By the end of it, because again, he always thinks he has to do the most extreme measure. Yeah. Because the most extreme would be to kill. He wanted to kill Rose.
Yes, and even though he said to Rose, which again, that goes with and that's where the plot goes. The plot that I was telling you goes.
Oh, with a desire.
So one of the things, so all the Endless, they are bound. They don't tell you this in the series, but I'm pretty sure they're going to touch a lot more upon this, detail wise, in the 2nd season. So there are a certain set of rules that all the Endless must abide by. All of them. if they don't abide by the rule, they lose all their powers. And what, like, some of them are like, one, you don't interfere with humanity, with mortals, unless they are interfering, you know, with the job of the endless.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, like the second big rule, you cannot shed family blood. You can, like the endless cannot
kill each other.
Cannot kill each other or fight amongst themselves, you know, physically.
Mm-hmm.
So Rose Walker
was
being a descendant of an endless made Rose Walker blood of the endless. And if Dream were to kill Rose Walker to save the Dreaming, Dream would lose his powers. This entire plot was orchestrated so that Dream would be forced to kill Rose Walker.
Yes, and Rose Walker only came about because Desire made this move when Dream was captured.
Exactly, because Rose Walker's great-great-grandma told him, I was supposed to be the Vortex. I was supposed to be the Vortex. And if he were to kill her, since she wasn't a blood of the endless, everything's fine. Like he's still.
I thought she was a blood of the endless. However, she just kept having. No, so
the Dream Vortex you don't have to be like the blood of the endless to be a Vortex. So in her case, if she was preordained to be the Vortex. That's what they found in the library of the Dreaming.
Right, and then she passed it down.
Since she was asleep, and Dream was, you know, captured, that was passed along for when
down her family tree.
When he woke up, and it was passed down her family tree.
Right.
For whenever Dream was released. So if she was to be the Vortex and Dream were to confront her, Dream would have to kill her, but he would still be upholding the rules because he's killing him. He's interfering with a mortal, but only because the mortal is interfering with his purpose, with, you know, the Dream and all that. But since he's not related to him or any of the endless, then it's fine. But because he was trying, like Desire was trying to force Morpheus to kill Rose Walker. That was the entire plan. So Dream would lose all his powers. Right. And that's why at the end he goes and confronts Desire.
Yes.
Says, like, you've been I know you've been playing with the puppet strings here, because like when the great grandma says, it's like, because like the 4 episodes we're like, how the hell did you get pregnant while you were asleep?
Right, I didn't
and we were like,
get that either.
I was like throughout and then in the last episode they tell you, I remember seeing golden eyes.
That too, but also, is it not because she's a Vortex? She again blurs that line. No, because like at first I thought I was because of Rose's friend Lyta. Remember Rose's friend?
No, yes, but the reason was it was Desire. Because I
know Desire impregnated her.
Because Desire I imagine, what the hell do you most desire? Okay, I want a kid.
Oh, so they snap. Oh, okay. I thought he actually formed a relationship with her. And
yeah, it's like, I imagine. It's like Desire said, like, again, that's his power. What do you most desire? Oh, I want a kid. Done.
But, okay. But I just know because there's the whole thing. Lyta was an effect of Rose's.
Remember, she couldn't be the Dream Vortex because since Dream was captured, so there was nobody was dreaming.
Right. No. I'm just saying when Rose, like, he's awake now. I'm talking about he's awake. That the Vortex could just.
Oh no! Yeah.
Run wild.
The Vortex runs wild, but like, so that was the entire like orchestrated plot, and that's. I imagine they're going to go a little bit heavier. Like they're going to like touch upon that little detail in the second season. But
no doubt.
That was just me that I was like curious. Hey, like what the, because they give you a snippet of it, and like I read on it, but it, like when I read on it, it was like, wow, this makes total sense.
I get it. I get it.
Like I was like, this fourth arc, like these last 4 episodes make total sense just by reading that little thing.
I mean, I in the grand scheme, the overarching plot works. The execution may not have been the greatest in the last 4, but it still works.
No, it's still, like, there were still really good episodes. Like, if I were to tell you, like, the first 6 episodes, they're all like, I would say they're all like 9s.
Mm-hmm.
They're all 9s. The 5 being a 10 for me. And the last 4 episodes, I would say like 7, 8, 8, 8. So like
they all blend for me. They're like 8s. They're just all
like the last episodes. They're basically like almost 8s, which are great. Like, but
no.
The thing is that compared to the first 6, it's like, okay.
It's a different direction.
Yeah, it's a different direction, different vibe.
Yeah, but overall, again, I think the series, it's still, what's the word? There's more to offer, of course, in a season 2. He remakes Galt, and Galt's he's like, you can be a dream.
Again, it's him. The last four episodes, the arc is change.
Yes, and now he's a different person.
He's a different person,
and he's acting on it.
He's acting on it. He knows, like, hey, like, maybe it's like we are who we want to be, and we're not everything is set in stone.
Nor should I technically be the one that chooses how you.
Exactly.
Right. So you have that going on. Rose is no longer a Vortex, but she has her brother, and I'm sure we're gonna see them again. I don't think you have a mini adventure with Dream, the Endless, and never see them again. But also Lyta's baby, he says, I'm coming for that baby, because that baby was born out of a dream.
It's a child of the Endless. Correct.
So he says he'll be coming for that baby. So I'm sure that'll be a major plot point moving forward. And then Desire and Despair are still up to their whatever. They got something bigger planned.
But he confronts Desire.
Yes.
Like, Dream confronts Desire and says, like, hey, if you want a war, I will give you a war.
And I'm sure down the line we'll see that war
also
played out.
Lucifer revenge.
Right. Why? Lucifer is embarrassed because she lost? Feel some type of way? And who's she talking to? Azazel?
Yeah.
Azrael?
I think it's Azrael.
And another demon, right? Demon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So forces are amounting against Dream and his kingdom. It ends on a good note. I think obviously I'll be tuning in. Will you be tuning in?
Oh yeah. I am very excited, and I really want them to make a season 2. I think they will. I don't think there is so much more to tell.
Agreed. Now, we did get that bonus episode.
Oh, the bonus episode was good. I liked it.
It's interesting, especially the first half.
The first half was interesting, but it was still it was touching and interesting.
No, it's definitely interesting. I was interested.
The animation was really good. I would say.
Yes, I know the animation was probably the standout. Also, that Sandra Oh as the Siamese cat. Yeah, she did a fantastic job. We don't have to get too into it. Very different vibe, but it plays into the whole, the dreams and the purpose, specifically of cats.
The dream of 1,000 cats.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. For those who don't know, there's a bonus episode 11. Go check it out. First half is about cats. Dream appears in it as a cat. It's
and the
different.
Second half, it's about.
Second half is kind of more aligned with what we've been given. But we have Calliope,
who is the ex-love interest of Morpheus.
Well, no, ex-wife. We
I
met. We didn't mention it. We did meet
Which
one
is-
ex-lover in hell.
which is a play on, I think, Greek mythology, because Morpheus and Calliope.
Oh yeah, yes,
and they have a son that's called Orpheus.
correct. And now I think Orpheus didn't make it in
So
in their world.
So no, Orpheus, I think in mythology, he is the greatest of poets and musicians, and he is the personal musician of Hades in the underworld.
Ah, okay.
Like Hades was so blown back by his prowess and the beauty of his music that he took him into his court.
Interesting. But I just looked it up. Orpheus does die in mythology.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
But Hades basically, instead of making him go like through the underworld and all that kind of stuff,
He just makes him stay.
It's just like, you stay, you're gonna be my personal musician here with me, because like no one plays music like you.
So I find it interesting because, moving forward in later seasons is, for example, Lucifer, the devil, hell. Is there a Hades equivalent?
Hades. It's like,
right. So that's why
and we see the underworld like that. There's so much that they can play with.
Right. So, not Norse, but many mythologies have gods and deities that are very similar in what they do. I wonder if they're all existing on the same plane or if they're all the same person, and how that plays out. Like, we pointed out the Anubis symbol. Is Death saying she's Anubis? I don't know, but it is very interesting to see how that plays out. I don't want to look further into it by going into the graphic novels. I will just be a series boy, and I'm gonna stay like that.
But yeah, like the last episode was really good. I liked it.
It was a nice little.
It was kind of cool. Like the first part, it was just like, oh, this is new, and then it kind of brings you back to reality. Like,
yeah, I feel it's they wanted to do the Calliope story, but didn't know where to put it.
Exactly,
So,
which is fine. Because when you really come to look at it, the Calliope episode, it doesn't fit into any of the arcs per se, because again, he's on his quest to get his items and all that kind of stuff. The Calliope would have been kind of like a break.
Yes, it would have been weird. I mean, not that it would have been weird, but yeah, it would have maybe not have flowed.
Yeah, it would have altered the flow. That's why it was perfect to have it like, oh, look at this bonus episode.
Yeah, and I mean, flashback. It is what it is. I would definitely watch it. I recommend people watch it before season 2 drops, whenever that is. But that is our in-depth look at The Sandman. Any final thoughts, Dr. Mondo, on The Sandman season 1?
Fantastic, really beautifully filmed, amazingly written and directed, extraordinary cast, deals with a lot of interesting themes, and the way they portray them is just exquisite. I would really give this show a 9 out of 10, honestly.
Fair, very fair.
Like a 9 out of 10. And the reason I don't give it a 10 is, again, those last 4 episodes, which are still great, but when you compare them to the first 6, it's just like the first 6 episodes, that is just wonderful.
I'm right below you. I'm like an 8.5. I'm an 8.5.
That's totally fine. Like an 8.59, it's like, it's what this show deserves, because it's wow.
I just feel this first season leaves you wanting so much more. And I think the stuff that was really well presented here is what you should be coming back for. The writing, the direction, the cast. And I think the mythos here is very fun and something worth exploring. So I would like to explore it more in later seasons. So I would definitely say, if you haven't watched Sandman, go ahead and definitely check it out. And if we couldn't convince you, I don't know. But Goodness, that's it from us here at the Yonkō Table. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on all our social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Remember, we've been posting a lot of stuff on TikTok, so make sure you go check that out. If you want to go join our discourse, be sure to click the link below and join our Discord, because we'll be in there talking about everything. Who knows what we may be talking about this week, but come on, join our conversation. But that's it from us here at the Yonkō Table. I'm your Yonkō host, GrandMasterHoop. Supernova Dr. Mondo, thank you for joining us today. And listen, folks, y'all have a great day and take care.
Take care, folks.